Hi there, my name is Aidan Doyle, and this is my video presentation for History 141 at Schoolcraft College. Today I'll be talking about Antoni de la Motte Cadillac, but during the video I'll be referring to him as just Cadillac, and also James Jesse Strang, and finally I'll be touching on Detroit and the fur trade. So first with Cadillac, he was born March 5th, 1658. And he died October 16th, 1730. He was a French explorer, and he founded Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit, which later would become the city of Detroit, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. In his military life, he received his education at military school, and then after that he joined the army. He was first a cadet in the regime of Dampierre-Lorraine, and then after that he was a lieutenant in the regime of Clairemont. In 1683, his military career took him to Port Royal in New France. There he earned a great reputation of being an expert navigator. And then in 1689, Cadillac was called back to France to help the court create a plan for a sea attack against New England. That and other contributions to the war effort impressed King Louis. And now for Michilimackinac. In 1694, Frontenac gave control of Michilimackinac to Cadillac. And after accepting, Cadillac now had command of all posts and government interests in the West. He had held this until 1697. Just 3 years later, all but 4 posts were ordered closed by the court. The only remaining posts were Frontenac, Michilimackinac, St. Joseph of Miami, and St. Louis of Illinois. They wanted them to remain open as long as the military needed. But Michilimackinac, St. Joseph, and St. Louis were all abandoned. And the abandoned forts were a perfect spot for the British to take over the area. Cadillac saw this, so he wanted to build a fort near the Detroit area, or as we know it right now, the Detroit area. So that would be Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit. So Cadillac went and returned to France to get acceptance of his plan from King Louis. After getting confirmation for the plan, Cadillac headed to Montreal to gather supplies and men for the task of building a new settlement. And then July 24th, 1701, the group arrived at the location of the future settlement. Cadillac would name it Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit, and then today it is known as the city of Detroit. Now for James Jesse Strang. Strang was born March 21st, 1813, and he died July 9th, 1856. He was an American religious leader, politician, and monarch. In his early life, at the age of 12, Strang became a member of the Baptist Church. And then at the age of 21, he started studying law. And then Strang converts to Mormonism. After establishing a relationship with Joseph Smith, he was the founder of the Mormon Church. Strang decided to convert to Mormonism. He soon became an elder of the church. Just 3 months after being baptized into the church, Strang was appointed an elder of the church by Smith. And then soon after appointing Strang an elder, Smith was jailed for destroying the office of a newspaper office that criticized his church. And then while he was in jail, Smith was actually assassinated. Now the question is, who takes the lead of the Mormon Church? Um, James Jesse Strang and Brigham Young fight to be leader. The two others both believed that they were chosen by Smith to take over. Soon the Mormon followers had to choose sides as either the Brighamites or the Strangites. It takes us to Beaver Island, which on June 1848, Strang arrived with some of his followers. He landed with about 25 of them, and then later on another 100 or so arrived. And Beaver Island is where they would stay, and he would try and grow his religion. Now the Detroit and the fur trade. 1634 to 1763 is known as the fur trade era. The big markets for the fur trade were Sault Ste. Marie, Mackinac, and Detroit. And Europe mainly wanted beaver skins from all that. A big thing with the fur trade was the Indians. The French and Indian nations formed an alliance because the French wanted to expand their fur trade into the western Great Lakes, and also the skills of the Indian members, how to hunt and trap at a commercial level, were vital. Indians would trade furs for the European goods. They would trade them for tools or utensils, and also some decorative clothes or maybe some beads or something. Well, at first this improved the tribes. In the end, it just made them more dependent on the Europeans. And then the other thing was they were exposed to a lot of diseases Europeans brought that the Indians didn't have any immunity for. This caused a lot of outbreaks among the tribes. And another thing was the killing of fur mammals disrupted the food chain. The hunt for all the fur caused a long-term depletion of fur-bearing animals and a lack of food for the Indians. And another important part was the voyagers. Um, Voyagers went out to get beaver pelts because they were in demand from the Europeans. They were very much in style from 1625 to the early 1800s. The huge demand brought the new group of hunters to the Canadian settlements, and they were called the Voyagers. After gathering supplies and recruiting a native guide, they would head north, head to the north country of the Great Lakes. And also their trips were very long. Most voyagers set out for a couple of years at least, and came back with many canoes full of fur. One voyager actually was recorded coming back with 100 boats, 100 canoes with fur. A little summary. Cadillac founded the city of Detroit, or that is what he is most known for in the modern world today. Strang was a religious leader. He brought his followers to Beaver Island after splitting the Mormon Church with the as either being a Stranglite or what was it? The Brighamites or the Strangites. And then the other one is the fur trade in Detroit was a very profitable business. Both the Europeans they got the furs out of it, and the Indians, though it was costly for them, they did get a lot of supplies and guns and utensils and all that from the Europeans. So that is my video presentation for History 141. Thank you.